Hi everybody. Today we're going to be talking about prefixes in German, specifically the ones that you take off of things, in other words, the separable prefixes. And if you haven't seen the German with Puppets video that goes with this, go ahead and click on that button up there. In the meantime, let's go ahead and get into some sentences. First of all of the sentences on here have separable prefixes in the verb, which means that you take off the prefix and you put that at the end of the sentence, which makes this exercise really easy. So we're just going to take a bunch of sentences and try to put them together and find out exactly where do we separate things, because that seems to be a major problem with this type of topic. First one on here says anhaben. Anhaben, you take off the an, and then you have the normal verb of haben, and so we have to conjugate that like we normally would, and that has to go with the subject. So this one is a question and has a question word in the options here, so we have to start our sentence with the word was. Then we have to conjugate our form of haben, like we normally would, to go with Sonja, and since Sonja is a singular individual, we're going to use the RZS form here, hat. Then the subject, which is, as I mentioned, Sonja. Then that extra word that we have in here for the time, heute. And then that prefix goes all the way at the end, like you did with the modal auxiliaries, but now we just have only the prefix back there. So our full sentence ends up being, Was hat Sonja heute an? What does Sonja have on today? Or what is Sonja wearing today? In Nummer 2, you'll notice again that we have a form of an at there, so we have ankommen, to arrive, with this one actually changes the meaning of the verb entirely. So kommen means to come, ankommen is to arrive. Slightly different. So we want to say the airplane is arriving at 9 o'clock. If we want to say that, we have to put an at the end of the sentence and conjugate kommen to go with das Flugzeug, which would be kommt. So the sentence becomes, Das Flugzeug kommt 9 Uhr an. The plane is arriving at 9 o'clock. Nummer 3. This one is a command, and it says that we're supposed to be using the do form here. So we want to say, call your mother. Anrufen. Rufen means to call. It can also be to scream or to shout at something. So we have an at the beginning of it to call up, as in like to, phone her on the phone or whatever, or to ring her up on the phone, however you want to phrase that in English. If we do this as a command for the do form, we have to have ruf, R-U-F. Then we have our direct object, the one being called, deine Mutter, and then the an goes at the end of the sentence as your separable prefix. So we have ruf deine Mutter an. Ruf deine Mutter an. Call your mother. Nummer 4. Auf is our separable prefix here. We have the verb räumen, which means to clean. Aufräumen would be to clean up. So we have to have here, and again, a command because the exclamation mark tells us so. And so we use here the do form command, which would be räum. Then we want to have dein Zimmer, your room. And then auf at the end of the sentence as a separable prefix. Räum dein Zimmer auf. Clean up your room. Räum dein Zimmer auf. Nummer 5. Geben is to give, but ausgeben doesn't necessarily mean to give out, as in to like hand out things to people. It actually means to spend. So in this sentence we say, his parents are spending a lot of money for his birthday. So we start off with his parents, because that's the subject, conjugate geben to go with the parents, which is still geben, and then we have to have much money or a lot of money, viel Geld. Then what for seinen Geburtstag, for his birthday, and then at the end of the sentence we have our separable prefix, aus. Seine Eltern geben viel Geld für seinen Geburtstag aus. Nummer 6. Ausgehen, to go out, as in, will you go out with me? Or, let's go out this evening. This one is a command, which means, go out with me tomorrow night. So we're going to say here, gehen Sie, which is the command form for Sie, gehen, and then Sie. Morgen Abend is tomorrow evening, mit mir, with me, and then our separable prefix at the end, aus. Gehen Sie morgen Abend mit mir aus. Nummer 7. Kaufen is to buy, einkaufen is to shop. In English you can say I'm shopping for a shirt, and in German you would just say I shop a shirt. It's kind of weird whenever you think about it like that, but that's the phrasing that they use. So this one here says Hans, which is our subject, then a form of kaufen, which is kauft, and then the shirt, which is a neuter noun, so we just keep it as ein Hemd, and then at the end of the sentence we put a separable prefix. Hans kauft ein Hemd ein. Hans is buying a shirt. The next one we have another statement. This one is again using einkaufen. Einkaufen is to buy or to purchase or to shop. So we have to use here the RZS form, which is sein Vater, of course, first, and then we have to have the RZS form kauft. What he is buying is einen Kuchen, which is a cake, and then for what he is buying it, or the reasoning for buying it, is für die Geburtstagsparty. And then at the end of the sentence, we still have to have our separable prefix, ein. Sein Vater kauft einen Kuchen für die Geburtstagsparty ein. Nummer 9. Einladen. Einladen is to invite. This one could be either, is his mother inviting the grandparents? Or, are the grandparents inviting his mother? I chose the first one. So we conjugate laden, which is irregular for two reasons. First of all, it takes an umlaut for the RZS form, and second of all, it does not take an E between the D and the T for no apparent reason whatsoever. Just a little bit easier to pronounce that way, I guess. So this one is, lädt seine Mutter die Großeltern ein? Is his mother inviting the grandparents? Sehen means to see, but Fernsehen is to watch television. So we have to have this one as Fred sieht, again an irregular verb, so we have that IE there. Im Wohnzimmer, where he is watching this, that's in the living room, and then at the end of the sentence we have fern. Fred sieht im Wohnzimmer fern. Fred is watching television in the living room. Nummer 11, again using Fernsehen, but this one is telling us to not watch so much television. So, we have the ear form, which is seht. We drop the ear like Van Gogh, as I told you in the previous video, and so then we have to have nicht so viel, and then fern at the end of the sentence for our command. Seht nicht so viel fern. Don't watch so much television. Nummer 12. This one says, let's start now. Losgehen is to start. Gehen by itself just means to go, but losgehen is to start. Los, by the way, is the thing that you'll find on the start spot on Monopoly in German. In order to command ourselves for we would have to actually just put the verb first and then our subject wir, so we say, gehen wir jetzt los. Nummer 13. Mitkommen is also a separable prefix. It means to come with, or to come along. Alle is our subject in this sentence, which is everyone. So we say, alle kommen ins Kino mit. Everyone is coming along to the theater. Nummer 14. Rüberkommen, to come over. This one we have again our subject is the RZS form, seine Freundin. Then we have our conjugated form of the verb, kommt, 4 Uhr, the time element. And then at the end of the sentence is our separable prefix, rüber. Seine Freundin kommt 4 Uhr rüber. His girlfriend is coming over at 4 o'clock. Number 15, we have vorhaben. Vorhaben is to have planned. So we want to say, what do you have planned for this evening? We start our sentence with the question word, was, then our conjugated form of haben to go with du, hast, du, heute Abend vor. Was hast du heute Abend vor? What do you have planned for this evening? Something to keep in mind with all of these separable prefix verbs is that if you're using a modal auxiliary, you will have to put these back together in the infinitive form, which means that they're back to being just one word with things like vorhaben at the end of the sentence whenever you're using that as the infinitive form with a modal auxiliary. Just something to keep in mind. All of the examples that I gave here, it's only the simple one version, one verb thing that's going on here. No modal auxiliaries were in play. That's all I have for today. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more of these videos, click on some buttons, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.